Welcome to the very first episode of the Gotta Know Ball Show. I'm your host, Ball Like Barry, and I'm so excited to be here. The rules are simple. You gotta know ball, but if you don't, I'll be the one to help you get on your way. I'll be covering all things football. I'm primarily an NFL guy, but I'm really trying to get into college. And with college football just starting this week and the NFL season right around the corner, this couldn't have possibly come at a better time. We'll be picking winners, we'll be picking losers, we'll be picking sleepers and more. We'll be addressing headlines both big and small from around the league and around the world. So make sure you strap in, subscribe to the channel, and let's get right into it.
You gotta know ball, you gotta know game, you gotta know love, you gotta know pain. You'll never get ahead if you're thinking like a lame. And most of all, you better know my name. It's Ball Like Barry. You gotta know ball, you gotta know game, you gotta know love, you gotta know pain. You never get ahead if you're thinking like a lame. And most of all, you better know my name. It's Ball Like Barry, Ball Like Barry, Ball Like Barry. It's Ball Like Barry, it's Ball Like Barry.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, fans of all ages. I'm so excited to finally be doing this. Yeah, I post Madden videos, but this is my first time ever hosting anything where I interact with fans, where I talk directly to the camera. I'm excited. And I had a whole bunch of stuff written out about how the Bengals might proceed if they can't sign Trey Hendrickson, how Jaden Daniels might not succeed if they can't sign Terry McLaurin in Washington. But the presses are hot, ladies and gentlemen. Trey Hendrickson just signed a 1-year, $30 million extension. That's a $14 million bonus. Terry McLaurin, 3 years, $96 million with a $30 million signing bonus. Also, Amari Cooper is back in with the Raiders. We'll call up Derek Carr out of retirement. We'll bring the 2014 squad back. It'll be all right. I'm excited. They ruined everything. They took away my headlines, but it's okay. I'm excited. Teams are going to be succeeding once again. The defense in Cincinnati might not be hot ass. Jaden Daniels doesn't have to throw to the ghost of Deebo Samuel. It is what it is. I'm going to start with a segment I'm going to call The Standard. You know, I'm a military guy. When you're training on a new weapon system, or you're doing some type of medic training, or you just even HR training, there's certain prerequisites you have to meet, certain qualifications you have to meet the standard. If you don't meet the standard, you're a no-go. So I'm going to go around the league and identify individuals and teams that don't meet the standard, that meet the standard, or might even exceed the standard. Now, that could be my standard. That could be their team standard. Hell, that could even be the fan standard. But let's get started with some people who aren't quite meeting the standard. And unfortunately, we got to talk about the elephant in the room, and that's Shedeur Sanders. His last performance was less than ideal. He racked up 3 for 6 with 14 yards, no touchdowns, 5 sacks, and a fumble. Now, granted, a lot of those linemen that let all those defensive players through aren't on the team anymore. But it also seems like it's very clear that someone in the front office, be it the head coach, be it the owner, be it the GM, doesn't want Shedeur there. And personally, I don't think Kevin Stefanski is going to want to spend 4 roster slots on quarterbacks. They got Joe Flacco, who is the ironclad starter. It just came out last night on Nightcap that Kenny Pickett was supposed to be the starter before he got injured, so he's not going anywhere. And honestly, Dylan Gabriel outplayed Shedeur. You look at the interview after the game, Shedeur has no life behind his eyes. He's lost his love for the game, and it's unfortunate to see. I like Shedeur Sanders. When he was at Colorado, flashing a rollie with his dad on the sideline with the cowboy hat, I was having a great time. Whenever they played Colorado State, after the head coach on the other team was making fun of them for having sunglasses on, and that went to overtime at midnight, that was an amazing game. Shedeur can sling it. He has amazing accuracy. But I wouldn't be opposed to the idea of them trading him. I know they just took him, but 4 quarterbacks, 2 being rookies, it just seems like they can use that roster spot to shore up the offense somewhere else and someone who's actually going to play. And as long as Shedeur's on the team, there's always going to be that voice in the back of your head asking, where's Prime Jr.? Where's he at? Start Shedeur. And I don't think the Browns want that. You know how the Browns do quarterbacks. I got a Baker Mayfield jersey right behind me. They did my boy dirty. And, you know, he had attitude problems too come out of college. I just don't think that Kevin Stefanski is going to want that distraction in the locker room. And unfortunately, it is a distraction. That's all they're going to be asking about. The moment Joe Flacco throws too many interceptions, or the moment Joe Flacco gets injured and Dylan Gabriel doesn't perform up to standard, they're going to be asking about Shedeur. And Kevin Stefanski doesn't want to be answering Shedeur questions all day. He barely wants to be up there right now. So if I'm in Cleveland and this is Madden, you know, in Minecraft, I might be taking calls on Shadur. And unfortunately, Aiden O'Connell just got injured over in Vegas. Geno Smith is a Shadur comp if I've ever seen one. And it did come out that Pete Carroll is looking for a veteran, but Tom Brady is in your ownership group. You don't necessarily need a veteran to train up a quarterback. Geno Smith is a great comp for Shadur Sanders. Tom Brady can train Shadur. They've already been speaking in the offseason. He picked the number 12 because he loves Tom Brady so much. I think that the Raiders should inquire with Cleveland about getting Shadur. That way Cleveland can get something back for him, and that way they can fill the backup gap left by Aiden O'Connell. Give Aiden O'Connell time to rest. Honestly, Aiden O'Connell ain't that good. Well, while I was recording that, the Raiders traded for Kenny Pickett. So I was right on the destination, wrong on the quarterback. Looks like they're going to roll with Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, and Shadur Sanders. That should be fine. You knew someone had to leave. They weren't going to roll with 4 quarterbacks. That's a waste of a roster spot. What incredible timing. I had the right destination, didn't have the right quarterback. It is what it is. You can't win them all. Thanks for watching anyways, and hell of a way to start a first episode. That's just what I would do. Shadur needs to re-establish his love for the game because he loved the game at Jackson State. He loved the game in Colorado. It doesn't seem like he loves the game here. Ever since the draft, the Sanders stock has been plummeting and plummeting and plummeting. It comes out when he doesn't want to sign autographs for kids. It comes out when he's jaw-jacking with the beat reporter in the tunnel after the game. You can see it. There's no passion there. And he's a passionate player. His whole family lineage runs on passion. Prime time was full of passion. But we need to get Shadur Sanders his passion back. He's got to get his groove back. And I think that might not be happening in Cleveland. Another player we got to talk about who's not meeting the standard is unfortunately someone I have to eat crow on. Anthony Richardson. In my opinion, the most athletically gifted quarterback to come out of college since Cam Newton. I thought he was going to be a demon in the league. And he can throw that ball like a nuclear missile, putting warheads on foreheads. But unfortunately, between the ears just ain't there. The injury ability just isn't there. And he got beat out by Daniel Jones. They made it simple. Mr. Richardson, to keep your job, all you have to do is not let Daniel Jones beat you. And he did not succeed. He got popped on the very first play of preseason, got his thumb dislocated. It was a pain to see, and it was gruesome to watch. Not because he was injured, but because Daniel Jones just took his job. Anthony Richardson, brother, you're going to have to do some type of spiritual journey while you're on the bench. You got to get your job back. I don't think his time in Indianapolis is necessarily up, but unless Daniel Jones starts tanking, they're not going to go back to him. They've already said that Daniel Jones has a long leash. Now, how long of a leash is that? We don't know. We know how Daniel Jones can stink it up. But if it's better than lower than 50% completion percentage, which is what Anthony Richardson had, if it's not the best touchdown interception ratio, but Daniel Jones has to get injured every 3 drives and doesn't check himself out of plays whenever he's tired, they're going to stick with Jones. So he needs to do some soul searching. He needs to reestablish his dedication to the game of football. And if all things fail, it might be time to look for another home. Indianapolis can get something for him. He's an athletic freak. There's going to be holes. People are going to get injured, and they're not going to want to pay Kirk Cousins money to trade with Atlanta. Some team will take a shot on an athletic quarterback. Like, I'm the Packers fan. We took a shot on Malik Willis, and it's great. I love Malik Willis as a backup. He was never going to succeed in Tennessee, but he's doing great as a Packers backup. Anthony Richardson, I can see falling into that Malik Willis role. Eventually, maybe we'll regain his ability as a starter once he gets his composure back down. And if all else fails, there's another quarterback from Florida who didn't do too good in the NFL. His name is Felipe Franks. He plays tight end now. Anthony Richardson as a tight end would be an absolute phenom. Bro is huge. Bro is tall. Bro can grip the football. You see him slinging the rock. Maybe they'll dial up some kind of Richardson package in Indianapolis, kind of like how the Seahawks are going to do a Jalen Milroe package. I don't know. But it sucks when he's not on the field. He has the athletic ability of an Olympic athlete, and he's spinning it on the bench. And that's just not good for football fans anywhere. Indianapolis doesn't want to see that. They're going to be pissed if they have to trade him because that means they wasted a very high pick on a quarterback that didn't pan out, and it seems like they've been in quarterback hell since Peyton Manning left. That's another player that we don't really see meeting the standard. Now, this is a group of people who aren't meeting the standard. The Cowboys ownership, Micah Parsons' agent, and Micah Parsons himself. What the hell is going on there? If Trey Hendrickson can sign a deal with the Bengals, who are notoriously the worst front office to work with after they dealt with the whole Shamar Stewart thing, why can't Micah Parsons, arguably a top 5 pass rusher in the league, sign with the Dallas Cowboys, America's team? Something ain't clicking here. Jerry Jones is getting told to shove deals up his ass by Parsons' agent. Apparently, Parsons' agent is going off on Jerry Jones for daring to speak to Micah behind closed doors. Micah Parsons is showing up on the sideline with a big old plate of nachos laying down on the massage table while his teammates are out there getting hit. It's just a bad look. This isn't what America's team is supposed to be. They're supposed to be a bond of brotherhood and friendship out there on the field doing battle with the opposing team. And that's just not happening. They paid Dak. They paid CD. They got to pay Micah Parsons. He's the anchor of that defense. Without him, the Cowboys might end up last in the division because y'all see how the Giants look. They look good. They look like they have a lot of potential. Meanwhile, the Cowboys' potential is in the gutter. Dak, unfortunately, they're spending a lot of money on. They got to find some money somewhere, make some cuts right now. You know, they're making all their cuts. They got to find some room to pay Micah. Micah Parsons should retire a Cowboy. And it doesn't help when Jerry Jones is going on Stephen A. Smith's show, when Jerry Jones is going on Michael Irvin's show, just bad-mouthing the dude. Now Micah might not want to stay there. Yeah, he had to put all his statements about how I no longer wish to be a Dallas Cowboy, and he took down all of his Cowboy merch off of his Instagram and how he's just here so he don't get fined, stuff like that. Lower back strain. It's weird how once all these paychecks get signed, these backs start clearing up. Terry McLaurin had a $96 million reason why his back had to get really ready really fast. Trey Hendrickson, whatever lymph node issue he was having, got cleared up once that $30 million check cleared. It's crazy how money ends up being a miracle of modern medicine when it comes to athletes. And I bet once Micah Parsons gets that new deal, he's going to get over his get the bagitis and he's going to get the pads back on and start rocking and rolling. But it might have to be like a Chris Jones scenario from last year. If y'all remember, Chris Jones didn't play the first game and the Chiefs defensive line was god awful. Guess what happened right after they got back to Kansas City? They signed that deal with Chris Jones and he was suited up, rocking and rolling, ready to ride for his team. And he was sitting in the stands with Taylor Swift in them. Let's not have Micah Parsons in the stands watching his team eating more nachos. Let's get Micah Parsons back to wearing number 11 with scuff marks on his pads, with scratches on his helmet, with bruises and cuts on his arm from battering and destroying the opposing offense's will. I don't like seeing weapons sit on the sideline. It's a shame. It's a travesty. I hope these parties involved can get over themselves, can reestablish their friendship. Like I said, Micah Parsons deserves to retire as a Cowboy. He is one of the best defensive prospects, best defensive weapons we've seen in a long time. And to see it wasted like that, it sucks as a fan of the game of football. I love football. Yet no one likes the Cowboys except for Cowboys fans. And no one, I'm a student of the game. Okay. I like when good football's on. I like that more than anything. I like that more than my team necessarily winning. I want to see good football and I want everyone to be healthy and I want everyone to be happy. And right now, we're not checking some of those boxes. So Micah Parsons, his agent, and the front office of the Cowboys are not up to standard for me. And one last person who's not up to standard. I'm going to put up a picture of the first overall draft pick of my fantasy football draft. Mr. Kaido didn't have his notifications on and he got set to auto draft. And as you can see, he took Josh Jacobs at the 101. Brother, what's going on? He popped in the chat, made like 3 more picks, and then dipped again. His team was hilarious to watch. And we had to adjust some draft strategies based on it. I had to take players I wasn't planning on taking just because I was sure that his auto picker was going to snipe my dudes. As you can see, I got the best team in the league, but I just wanted to clown my boy Kaido with taking Josh Jacobs at the 101. No one expected that. And now Jamar Chase goes to the evil villain of our league, and we just got to all settle and watch it. Let's transition to some folks, to some teams who do meet the standard, and we'll get started with the usual suspects. In the NFC, Eagles and Rams. In the AFC, Bills and Ravens. They look like they're firing on all cylinders. All their squads look nice. Backups look nice. Defense on the Eagles looks like it's going to be a menace to society. The Rams defense, Jared Verse, he won that Defensive Player of the Year for a reason. You got Byron Young. You got Kobe Turner. Their secondary leaves some room to be desired. And the only question we have to ask about the Rams is Matt Stafford okay? The only question we have to ask about the Eagles is Saquon going to do it again? Probably. He's probably going to do it again. Flipping over to the AFC, the Ravens. Yeah, Derrick Henry is getting a little old, but it's still King Henry. Lamar Jackson, 2-time MVP. They're going to do great things. They got DeAndre Hopkins. If anyone can bring D-Hop out of the retirement home to play well, it'll be Lamar Jackson, because they're going to have to respect the run so much that DeAndre Hopkins' age isn't going to show that much, because he's going to be able to get open when corners and safeties have to keep an eye on the quarterback, have to keep an eye on Derrick Henry. That'll allow the receivers to get open. That'll allow Zay Flowers to get open, to do his thing. The Ravens are going to be a squad to watch this year. Normally, they're fun to watch just for Lamar Jackson and Derrick on the ground. The passing game is going to be crazy, I assure you. And on the other side, the defense, man, that Ravens defense just know how to find big dudes. They got crazy dudes in the secondary. Kyle Hamilton, I forgot who said it, but someone compared him to the best safety since Ed Reed. Those are big shoes to fill. But Kyle Hamilton's a big dude. He's like 6'4". He's got length. He's quick. He has ball awareness. Kyle Hamilton is amazing. Watch some Kyle Hamilton tape if you got some spare time. Dude is great. Shouts out to Bengal for saying he wasn't going to be a first-round pick. I'm just kidding. I love you, dog. Anyways, the Bills. Watch Hard Knocks. This is probably the best season they've had in a while, probably since John Gruden and the Raiders. Josh Allen got married, and it seems like he's just going to keep firing all cylinders to show out for his honey. Josh Allen looking like he's going to repeat his MVP season. They got James Cook signed. And a player that I didn't know I liked so much, Deion Dawkins, the offensive lineman. He's out there drifting race cars with his kids, having a fun time. That offense is going to be fun. They're looking for Keon Coleman to make that next step in his second year. That's really all they got to do. They got to identify a receiver that they can reliably get the ball to. Amari Cooper's not there anymore. Khalil Shakir kind of injured. We'll see what happens. They signed Josh Palmer from the Chargers. Hopefully someone can break the 1,000-yard mark. We need to have a good receiver in Buffalo. Josh hasn't had one since Stephon Diggs left. And unfortunately, Stephon Diggs is on the Patriots now, so they got to see him twice a year. A couple of individuals that I guess are meeting the standard, not my standard, not the rest of the league standard, but unfortunately, this is all their team has to work with. Tyler Shuck and Spencer Rattler. Someone has to meet the standard of starting Saints quarterback. And it's looking like a suck fest, but it's going to be a shuck fest. I wouldn't give Rattler the job. Dude was, 0-6 last year? We've seen what he is. We know what he has in the bag. We don't know what Tyler Shuck has. Yeah, bro was stumbling, rumbling, bumbling, falling on his ass in the preseason, but you got to start somebody. Rattler can always come in and lose your games for you if Tyler Shuck is doing it. Let's give the rookie a shot. I have a feeling Alvin Kamara is going to be dead tired this year. And hopefully Chris Olave doesn't go brain soup on us and he maintains his mental composure, doesn't get any more concussions, and can actually reel in 1,000 yards from somebody. Derek Carr should picked a hell of a time to retire. You could tell they weren't ready for it. And Kellen Moore, bro, great offensive coordinator. He got dealt a crappy hand, and I'm hoping the Saints leadership is lenient on him. He's going to need a couple of years to turn that around. The team hasn't been right since Drew Brees retired. They're still reeling, trying to find someone to occupy the quarterback position. Who knows if it'll be Tyler Shuck? Who knows if it'll be Arch Manning? We don't know now, with him saying that, hey, Grandpa Archie was talking out of his ass saying, I'm not going to come out of college football and enter the draft. We don't know what he's going to do now. Hopefully Archie stays at Texas. I hate saying that as an OU fan. You don't want him going to the Browns. And the Saints aren't ready for a generational quarterback yet. They need to build up. They need a couple more drafts. Maybe they need a veteran back there pulling the strings as opposed to a young kid getting planted on his ass and Tyler Shuck or Spencer Rattler. That's what that is. We'll leave that at that. All right, a couple more players that are meeting the standard is the second-year quarterbacks. People like Bo Nix, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, the reigning offensive rookie of the year, and of course, Caleb Williams in Chicago. Jaden Daniels, you can tell that dude loves playing football, man. He was taking hits, not sliding in preseason games. Brother, I know Dan Quinn was about to lay an egg on that one. Bo Nix heaving long bombs as well. Denver, I really like what Denver's rocking with. Bo Nix has Cortland Sutton. Evan Ingram, if he can find what he had in Jacksonville, is going to be a fine tight end. There's also the rookie running back RJ Harvey, who is a amazing pick that you're going to get for value in your fantasy drafts if you haven't drafted yet. I was really hoping no one was on his hype train. I managed to get him in my league. RJ Harvey is going to be great. All he has to do is contend against J.K. Dobbins, who, in my opinion, isn't that good. Sean Payton is also a Hall of Fame head coach. Bo Nix is fitting right into that perfect mold that Sean Payton has laid out for him. They're going to do just fine. Drake May, watch out for these Patriots. Drake May throwing to Stephon Diggs is going to be a problem. Stephon Diggs still got it. The Patriots' offensive line is nice. Drake May can run the ball. He is deceptively quick. He has a deceptive arm, and you're going to get comfortable playing him, and he's going to dot you up and run and gun on you. Do not overlook the Patriots on the schedule. Yeah, he had a little bit of a slow start. He's going to hit his stride in year 2. Can't forget about Caleb Williams, the 101 from last year. They keep drafting weapons for him. They got Colston Loveland, another great tight end to throw to. They got Luther Burden, who is an excellent receiver to throw to, on top of Romo Dunze, on top of DJ Moore. This Chicago team is poised. They are in the starting blocks, ready to set a new record on a sprint. If Caleb Williams can unlock that second gear, can get to the next level, the Bears are in contention for the NFC North. And I hate saying that as a Packers fan. I already hated dealing with the Lions. Now I got to deal with the Bears too. JJ McCarthy better not be good on the Vikings, or I'm going to be upset. I'm going to be angry. I'm going to put holes in my drywall, and I'm going to have the cops called on me because I can't stand not winning anymore. All right, I'm just kidding. But yeah, watch out for Caleb Williams. If one of these receivers he has finally breaks 1,000, if they can find a good running back, not named DeAndre Swift, who personally I think is getting a little old, they need to identify some way to have the offensive line not be as ass as it was last year, and they're good to go on offense. That defense, I'm still confident the Packers are going to be able to drop 40 on their heads. But I'll be upset because if they can drop 50 on ours, then what's the point? So that's all that is. Second-year quarterbacks looking up for all teams involved. Another set of guys who are meeting the standard for their team, and honestly for the league right now, is Russ and Jameis. If you watch Giants franchise on my channel, you know that I traded Russ away. I let Jameis have the reins with Jackson Dart being the backup. They're obviously not going to do that. But Russ and Jameis are perfect to get Jackson Dart set up, to hand the reins over to him when it's time. They don't need to rush it. They can pull a Pat Mahomes and have him set all year if they need to. But he also seems like he's capable. But Russ and Jameis are perfect guys to tag team training Jackson Dart up to be the next one up. He's clearly the best looking quarterback of this draft class. Cam Ward hasn't been that bad, but Jackson Dart just looks better. You can't help but notice it. He has the swag. He has the confidence. He's putting it out on the field and leaving it all out on the field. You watched the Three Amigos video with Jameis after the game the other day. Bro is happy to be out there because you know Jameis is going to hype you up no matter what, but he was giving it back. Tommy DeVito was giving it back. That quarterback room is happy to be there. They love playing football, and that's what matters. If you love this sport, you're going to play better. If it's just a job to do, you're going to play worse. That's just how it is. If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. Jameis Winston loves football. Russ, even though he's corny, loves football. And it looks like Jackson Dart loves football. And that transitions us into the next topic of conversation. Exceeds the standard. Jackson Dart, my friend, you have exceeded the standard placed upon you. Everyone was wondering if you were even going to get back to Ole Miss levels. Dude, you are the talk of the league. You scroll YouTube right now, ESPN, any of your favorite football commentators, any of the favorite sports podcasts you watch. Is Jackson Dart next up? Look out, Russ. Look out, Jameis. Jackson Dart's coming. Next up, Jackson Dart. Giants, contenders, ? Exclamation point. They are such an exciting team to watch with such high upside that Giants fans haven't been able to contend with for a long time. You can tell when they drafted Daniel Jones. I don't know if y'all remember. When they drafted Daniel Jones, they were having a draft party in MetLife, and the whole stadium groaned and cried, and it was an upsetting time. Yeah, they had a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel when they had that win against the Vikings in the playoff when Brian Daboll won Coach of the Year. But ever since then, that was just a peak on the roller coaster that keeps going down. Now it looks like it's going up, and they can only see up from here. Brian Daboll is clearly still a great head coach, and he's coaching for his life now. Jackson Dart has to be good. Thank God he is. He has dual threat ability that I didn't watch a lot of tape on him, but now when you look at it, he is dangerous with his legs. He's deceptive. He reminds me of Russ, actually. But he also has that malleability where he can change his throw angle, kind of like a Matt Stafford type, Phillip Rivers type. He does the sidearm. He'll do some jump throws. Pat Mahomes, I don't want to compare him to Pat Mahomes yet, but you see Pat Mahomes do that. He'll do a jump throw. He'll do a sidearm. He'll shovel pass every now and then. You already know Jackson Dart, just because you got a defender in his face does not mean he's not going to be able to get the ball off. He'll throw it around your dude. He'll throw it above your dude. He's got touch to be able to loft it over the head of linebackers, but before the safeties can get to it, he has power to fling it in tight windows for his receivers to catch the ball when corners are one-on-one against him, making blanket coverage. Malik Neighbors is about to get fed. Malik Neighbors is about to break 1,000 yards. Malik Neighbors is about to be a top 5 receiver in this league if Jackson Dart takes the reins and plays like he played in the preseason. Malik Neighbors isn't their only weapon. Darius Slayton is a good receiver. He's not great, but he's nowhere near terrible. They extended him, so he's got a good number 2, a finely serviceable number 2. It'd be nice if they could find a tight end. Some people believe in Theo Johnson. I'm not really a Theo Johnson guy, but hopefully he can do it. He has the athletic ability to, maybe there's something there. The Giants O-line, it's decent. What you really need to hope is Tyrone Tracy can hit that second gear as well to get some pressure off the quarterback. You need to establish a run game, but hopefully between Tyrone Tracy, between Devin Singletary, and they just drafted the Great White Hope Part 2 Cam Scatteraboo, they can find someone there that can hit the ground running, that can take the pressure off the passing game to make the defense respect the running game. And that way Jackson Dart or whoever is helming the ship can have room to breathe. You don't want the offense to be pressured into throwing the ball because you can't run. That you won't go anywhere like that. You need a good balance, be it a 60-40 balance, be it a 50-50 balance. You need to be able to run the ball some. Tyrone Tracy showed some flashes last year. Hopefully he can find that second gear. But yeah, Jackson Dart exceeds the standard. Absolutely. He's looking like the best quarterback of this draft so far, but only time will tell. Let's get on to some more people who exceed the standard, and that is this rookie group of running backs. Omarion Hampton for the Chargers, Travion Henderson for the Patriots, RJ Harvey for the Broncos, and of course, Ashton Genty on the Raiders. These guys are looking great. Omarion Hampton looks like he just lucked into a starting running back role. No one has seen one-eye Najee Harris since his fireworks accident. He's not going to want to hit the ground running, playing hard-nosed football after that injury. Omarion Hampton might steal this job from Najee Harris. And Najee was expected to go there and be a 1,000-yard rusher. He's not had a season where he hasn't been a 1,000-yard rusher since he's been drafted in the league. But Omarion Hampton looks nice. You check on fantasy football draft boards, he's going in the first couple rounds just based off of the potential that he's going to take Najee's job. Up there in New England, Travion Henderson, Ramondre Stevenson, buddy, you got someone coming for your job because Travion Henderson was running like he was mad at the ground. Great jump cut ability. He's going to be lethal from the backfield in the pass game. That just gives Drake May another weapon to check down to in case they do blanket Stephon Diggs, in case Pop Douglas can't get open, in case Hunter Henry isn't able to find his groove, or in case he gets injured again. Travion Henderson is going to do fine in New England, especially if Ramondre Stevenson can't get it going or gets hurt again. RJ Harvey is the heir apparent in Denver. I already brought him up when I was talking about Bo Nix and the Broncos, but he's a sleeper pick to be the starter ever since Javonte Williams went to the Cowboys. J.K. Dobbins is in that running back room as well. He'll be a good stopgap until RJ Harvey gets going, but it looks like when he hits the ground running, he's going to hit the ground running fast. He's a hard-hitting running back. He has good ball carrier vision. I'm excited to see what he'll do up there in Denver under Sean Payton. They can get some schemes going between him and Bo Nix, get some good read option going with him and Bo Nix. It'll be a great time for all Denver Broncos fans. I normally didn't like watching the Broncos, but now I'm kind of excited to see what they'll be able to do with these young weapons. And of course, Pete Carroll got the best running back since Bijan Robinson. I know, not long ago. And Ashton Genty. Brother man is going to do great things in Vegas. He might be getting a little overused because the Raiders really don't have a lot of weapons. Yeah, they just re-signed Amari Cooper, and Brock Bowers had one of the best tight end seasons you'll ever see as a rookie. But other than that, they're going to be relying heavily on the running game. But Ashton Genty, as we see, is dangerous on the ground. He's dangerous in the passing game. He's going to have his hands full. Chris Jones twice a year. He's going to have to deal with Khalil Mack twice a year. But it's okay. If anyone could do it, it's the Boise State phenom Ashton Genty, especially under future Hall of Fame head coach Pete Carroll. Geno Smith is going to be able to identify and shift protections as need be, make audibles as need be, to where Ashton Genty should be able to play against some light boxes. They should be able to adjust accordingly against any team they do play. And lastly, this one's just for me because I'm a special teams appreciator. Kickers exceed the standard. In particular, Cam Little, who broke the NFL record. Yes, I know it's not going to stand because it was a preseason game, with a 70-yard field goal. And then the great defiler, Justin Tucker's replacement in Baltimore, Tyler Loop, who was nailing 62-yarders in game. Justin Tucker's record will be broken soon. Mark my words on that one. We just seen Cam Little can do it in a game environment. Tyler Little has the potential to do it. They're just not, lining up 66-yard field goals yet. But that scenario, when it's just before the half, you don't have the weapons, you don't have the quarterback that can make a Hail Mary, that exact scenario is when you're going to see this record get broken. Like in Jacksonville, they only had 3 or 4 seconds on the clock. Trevor Lawrence wasn't going to throw a Hail Mary. Send the kicker out there. Let him try a 70-yard bomb. What's the worst that can happen? He can make it with 2 yards to spare. That kick was good from 72, possibly 73 yards. Also, shout out Cam Little from my hometown of Moore, Oklahoma. Great guy. Went to Southmore High School, I learned. It's awesome seeing my state get put on the map for something cool. Kickers are back. Kickers are people too. Shout out Pat McAfee. Let's get on to the next segment and see what we got going on. Next segment I'm going to do is just some questions that we still need answering. And I got the headlining question. Is Matt Stafford going to be good to go? What's going on with his back? He's getting epidurals. They pulled an Airstream up with some hippie in the back doing some kind of voodoo magic on him, trying to get him right. The Rams can't afford to be down a Matt Stafford. The Jimmy Garoppolo show must not go on. Stetson Bennett looked okay in the preseason, but it's not a Matt Stafford. It's not a future Hall of Fame, Super Bowl winning quarterback Matt Stafford to throw to Puka Nacua, to throw to Devontae Adams, to throw to Tyler Higbee. You're going to be overwhelmed and oversaturated if Jimmy Garoppolo has to start for you. I saw some people talking about how they might call Atlanta about Kirk Cousins. That's a lot of money for Kirk Cousins when you got Jimmy G, who can't be that much worse than Kirk Cousins in the back. I don't know if they'll do that, but Matt Stafford has to be okay. He still has a cannon of an arm. The mental's unparalleled in this league right now. Matt Stafford's brain, combined with Sean McVay's coaching ability, top tier, S tier, Super Bowl caliber. They almost made it to the big show last year. But in order to repeat that, they're going to have Matt Stafford be okay. They're finally getting defensive pieces to replace Aaron Donald. Kobe Turner, Jared Verse, and Byron Young, all three of them are just the replacement for Aaron Donald. It is not to be understated how big of an impact that man had on the team and how much resources it required to stop him for the opposing offense. They finally are getting that together. They finally got some offensive weapons. They were okay with sending Cooper Kupp away because Puka Nacua was the heir apparent. They brought in Devontae Adams, who wanted to be in LA. They got all these people lined up. They got all these weapons lined up to make a playoff run. And now Matt Stafford's back hurts. I'm really hoping it's just he didn't want to be in training camp. He didn't want to do the rigmarole of the offseason. He'll be fine for week 1. But if he's getting epidurals, if that part's true, then something's wrong. Yeah, he was out there throwing in pads, but he didn't play at all in the preseason. He missed most of the practices. We can't afford to have Matt Stafford missing any more time than he has left because he's old. He's a very well battered, tenderized quarterback, if you will. And we want to see him ride out on a high horse, not hanging in the dumps like all the quarterbacks you see, like a Brett Favre, should have retired a season or two ago, but now he's limping into the offseason at a 4-13 record. We don't want to see that from Matt Stafford. I can finally cheer for the guy because he's not in Detroit anymore, and now his back's hurting. Where the hell was that when he was in Detroit? When he was throwing when he was throwing touchdowns with a dislocated arm, doing quarterback sneaks against Cleveland with a dislocated arm. I need that back in LA with Sean McVay. That's hard-nosed football. That's heavy-hitting football. That's the stuff I like to see, man. I love football like that. I like when, we get a little bloody, when we get a little muddy. SoFi Stadium is finally rocking and rolling with some fans that aren't away fans, and now Matt Stafford's hurt. No, I really want him to be okay. He deserves to go out on top, and I'm hoping that the Rams can get this all sorted out, that Matt Stafford can heal up, get back out there in the field before week 1. I did have, will Trey Hendrickson / Terry McLaurin be suiting up for week 1? That's been answered. We'll go on to the next question, which is, how long of a leash will Daniel Jones get? Shane Steichen came out and said that Daniel Jones is the starter for the season, and he's going to have a long leash. But a Daniel Jones long leash and a Pat Mahomes long leash are two very different leashes. And we both know that one is much shorter than the other. What's it going to take for Daniel Jones to get sat back down, for Anthony Richardson to come back up? That's a question that Shane Steichen's going to have to answer at some point. Obviously, he hasn't answered that yet, but a long leash for Daniel Jones can mean a lot of things. How many interceptions does it take? How many fumbles does it take? How many poor reads does it take? How many missed open receivers does it take before the Colts ownership, before the Colts coaches finally decide, okay, the athletic ability of Anthony Richardson has a higher upside than the mental acuity of Daniel Jones? There's new ownership in Indianapolis. You know who's on a short leash? The coaching. The GM. They're on a short leash. So I don't know if they want to be making such bombastic statements about how this team is Daniel Jones to lose and how he's going to have as long a leash as he needs. Brother, you have a short leash. You can't be pissing off this new ownership group, because otherwise they're going to be firing you. They're going to be firing the GM. They're going to be cleaning house. Yeah, a couple players being on leashes will be the talk of the town for a short while, but you got to figure this thing out, man. Shane Steichen, you're a good coach. I know you've been dealt a crappy hand when it comes to quarterbacks, but brother, making statements like that might not be in your best interest. You're just now getting some offensive weapons in there. You re-signed Michael Pittman. You just drafted the excellent tight end Tyler Warren out of Penn State. You got to nail down this quarterback position. You're always going to have an O-line. Indianapolis famous for having great O-lines for time immemorial. You got to nail down this quarterback thing. Hopefully Daniel Jones doesn't even need a leash. Hopefully he just, we don't ever want to prey on someone's downfall, but if he's going to succeed, hopefully he succeeds and sets himself apart with room to spare. Otherwise, send Anthony Richardson back out there, run read option every play. That's what it's going to be. Because Anthony Richardson, that's a first-round pick. That's the last saving grace Ballard has to not being fired, is if they turn around Anthony Richardson, which looks like that ship is kind of sinking. We don't want to have to rely on Daniel Jones to save it. And that's all I'll say about that. And the last question I have that still needs to be answered: how am I supposed to make it 10 more days until the NFL season starts? Brother, I'm clawing my skin off. I'm scratching at the walls, looking for coins in the couch cushions, begging for just a hint, a touch, a bump of NFL content. I was watching preseason games like I'm doing all 22 film study for a college scouting department. It was not pretty. My family hasn't heard from me for weeks because preseason's been on. And I finally got to watch real football again when college started. I'm not a Kansas State fan. I'm not an Iowa State fan, but I had to watch it because I needed something that mattered. And I guess week 0 of college football was the thing that I picked. In 10 short days, the wait is over. The 2025 season will begin. The Dallas Cowboys will be facing the Philadelphia Eagles on September 4th at 7:20 p.m. Central Standard Time, and I'm going to be glued to the TV watching it. Kind of praying on the Cowboys' downfall, but I hope Micah Parsons is out there. And that'll transition to this next one. Some games we got to circle week 1. Make sure you watch them, regardless of if you're a fan of the teams or not. We'll start with the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles, starting the year, hoisting the banner, one of the greatest rivalries in sports. We're going to see Jalen Hurts pushing his tushy. We're going to see Saquon doing his thing. Oh, man, I really hope Saquon repeats. He should have won MVP last year. I'm so pissed he didn't win it. I was in the Saquon deserves it train. Honestly, if it is a quarterback award, I think Lamar deserved it last year, but Josh Allen had to get his, I guess. But Saquon had a season for the ages. Saquon had one of those seasons you'll be like, There will be a day when your grandchildren ask you, Grandpa, what was Saquon Barkley like? And your eyes will glass over and you'll go back to that 2024 season. You'll remember Saquon rushing for 2,000 yards. You'll remember Saquon Barkley jumping over some dude backwards and getting put on the cover of Madden. You'll remember all these perfect highlights. And right as you hit the climax of the Saquon Barkley highlights, you'll pass away peacefully. And all you'll know is bliss, because that's how good the Saquon Barkley season was, man. I can't wait to see what they'll do. They still got the same offensive line. They got the same offensive weapon. And the defense, this is one of the best defenses I've ever seen. This is going to be something we talk about like the Legion of Boom, like the no-fly zone. These bird squads are something else. Personally, as a Caucasian, I'm ready for more Cooper DeJean, man. Cooper DeJean is fun to watch. He's ratty. He's quick. He's got a lunch pill in his hand. He's first in, last one out type of guy. But then the defensive line, oh my goodness. Jalen Carter. Brother, Jalen Carter is looking to be the next Aaron Donald. He's been hitting the gym. He's been hitting the cafeteria line as well. Bro is big. Bro can bench a freaking half a ton. You got other people. Linebacker Zach Mon had a great campaign last year. Captain of the defense. There are no weaknesses on this Eagles team. You can't point to one position on the Eagles and say, that's a weakness. I'll exploit that, because they're insane. And on the other side, the Cowboys, they still got offensive weapons. You think CeeDee Lamb is about to show up and put 1,500 on your head? Dak Prescott still can sling it. The Cowboys offensive line is still going to make way for Javonte Williams, who I think is a perfectly serviceable starting running back. This is going to be a hard-hitting, knockdown, drag-out game, and it's so fun that we get to watch that week 1 of this year. I'm hoping for high-scoring football. I'm hoping everyone stays healthy, please. I don't want to see a player get injured in week 1 of the NFL season. Ever since the Jets with Aaron Rodgers, I always fear that, and I don't want that to happen for anyone, knock on wood, if you're with me. Next game I want to bring your eyes to is Browns-Bengals on Sunday at noon. Not for the play. We want to see, this will be solely for the news coverage. How is Joe Flacco going to do? What's going to be going on with that quarterback room? Is Jerry Jeudy and David Njoku going to be enough for the Browns to get some offensive production? On the other side, Trey Hendrickson is invigorated. Shamar Stewart is ready to rock and roll. They finally have a good defensive line. Is Joe Flacco going to be able to pick apart that secondary? I don't know. But Joe Burrow sure is. He's got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Mike Gesicki. He's going to be slinging the rock, boy. The Browns secondary is going to have all it can handle. We don't know if Myles Garrett's going to be able to get home. If he does, maybe they can slow down Joe Cool. But to me, this is Joe Burrow's year. If he's going to win an MVP, it's this year. He got all his weapons back. They somehow managed to sign Trey Hendrickson so he doesn't have to score 40 points a game. If they weren't going to be able to sign Trey Hendrickson, the Bengals were going to have to score 30 to 40 points a game to be competitive. They were not going to be competitive defensively, but now they got one of the best defensive weapons in the last 5 years re-signed. It's going to be such a fun game to watch. Yeah, I know it's Browns football, but Ohio battles are great for a reason, and I hope you tune in to the Browns game. The next game, my home pick, Green Bay versus Detroit. You already know there's going to be some rivalry blood. NFC North rivalries are always heated. They're going to be eager to punch someone in the mouth after a long offseason. Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown are ready to do their thing. Freaking Jahmyr Gibbs, dude. He was my number 1 pick in fantasy this year, and it sucks because I hate picking NFC North opponents, but he's just so good. One of the best young running backs in the league, and he's probably going to be carving up the Packers because Kenny Clark's getting old. The run defense for the Packers isn't quite what it used to be. Hopefully we can get some sort of pass rush. Hopefully Rashawn Gary, Lucas Van Ness, somebody can get to the quarterback, because Jared Goff, if you let him have a clean pocket and the Lions have a good offensive line, Jared Goff's going to dot you up. He's got quick receivers. Amon-Ra's got amazing hands. And we just got rid of our best corner in Jair Alexander. He's on the Ravens now. I'm kind of concerned, but I'm not too worried because we took a wide receiver with our first round pick this year. Matthew Golden, number 22 for Green Bay, is looking to set himself apart from the other picks that we have made on offense. Jordan Love needs a number 1, and I'm hoping it can be Matthew Golden, because while Christian Watson has showed bursts, his availability is a concern. He's a physical freak. He's like 6'5", can jump out the gym, but he gets hurt a lot. He's probably only good for 8 or 9 games a year thus far. We need a guy that has grittiness, that can take a hit and keep on ticking, and hopefully that's Matthew Golden. Also, Jaden Reed has that home run potential. If he gets loose in the secondary, he's probably going to the crib for 70. You just know that that's going to happen at least once every 2 or 3 games with him. Josh Jacobs is going to be hurting the Lions defense. They're going to make them earn those tackles. Brian Banch better be in the box because otherwise we're trucking everyone else. That's the only safety you got that can line up against Josh Jacobs and take a truck stick. It's going to be a great game. I hope y'all tune in for that one as well. Lastly, but certainly not leastly, Ravens and Bills, Sunday Night Football. I already broke down their squads earlier. They're looking to put it all out there on the field. First game of the week for both these teams. It's in Buffalo. Buffalo's looking to end this last season at Highmark Stadium before they move to the new one, dominating everyone they see. But on the other hand, Baltimore ain't no slouch. Buffalo got the MVP from last year. Baltimore got the MVP from before then. They're going to be trading haymakers all night long, and I'm here for it. I want to this absolutely could be a 50-point plus game for either side, 100%. Because the defense is, it's hard to go up against MVP caliber quarterbacks, no matter who your defense is. It takes generational defenses to lock them down. And while the Ravens and Bills might be good, they're not generational by any means. I'd probably give the Ravens defense a slight edge over the Bills, but that's neither here nor there. If I had to pick a team to win this game, it'd probably be the Ravens, simply because Derrick Henry is a better running back than James Cook. And I think Lamar is going to be able to exploit Buffalo's defense a little more. But I could absolutely be proven wrong. Josh Allen won MVP for a reason. He has great mentals. He has a cannon of an arm. If Keon Coleman can get behind the defense, if Khalil Shakir is healthy to play, there's no reason to say the Bills don't win this game either. We got to watch to find out. And we're only a couple weeks away. I'm so excited. All right, let's move on to college football. I'm primarily an NFL guy, but I really want to get into college football. I always get into it whenever it's time to watch tape for the NFL draft, but this year I want to actually watch college football. I'm from Oklahoma. You can't see it. That's a Sooners jersey. I'm a Sooners fan, but I want to, expand my umbrella. I want to bring in, I don't want to just watch SEC football this year. I want to watch all the conferences. I want to be up to date on everyone who's winning, on everyone who's losing, on all the big stories. I want to be more involved with college football. So I decided to watch week 0 college football, starting with Kansas State at Iowa State in Ireland. Now, it was a muddy, smoky, fumble-rooski mess, but it was fun football. I'm going to go over some notes here because I was taking them while I was watching the game. Got a rain off and on, fireworks, smoke, and utter pandemonium. Both teams fumbled twice. We start the game with a Dylan Edwards muff punt, which got him injured. I was really excited to see Dylan Edwards this year, and he already got injured week 0. I hope he's okay. That muff punt was a hell of a way to start the college football season, I tell you. It seems like Kansas State lost more than Iowa State won. Crucial turnovers that didn't need to happen, and then that last failed 4th down conversion in the 4th quarter, Iowa State put it away. Iowa State was able to run the ball better. Their running back, he was able to put more of our ground game together. Avery Johnson was more deadly on the ground for Kansas State, but he just couldn't get anything going. Overall, it was a hard-hitting defensive first half. Number 44 on Kansas State, Osunswami, I believe his name is. Yeah, Osunswami was in the backfield a lot. I think he got like 3 or 4 sacks. Had a great day. Rocco Beck, though, he went on his Thanos-type beat in the 4th quarter. He kind of did that entire last drive by himself. Kansas State tried to respond at the end, but that failed 4th down conversion just was all that Iowa State needed to put the game away. Overall, my takeaways from that game, Iowa State was better at running the ball. Kansas State, way better at passing the ball. Avery Johnson, brother, his arm is amazing. He throws a pretty deep ball. Keep an eye on him. I'm going to keep an eye on him. Big 12 football. Like they were saying, this might be a rematch of the Big 12 championship later down the line. We'll just have to see. And hoping that Dylan Edwards is okay. He's probably going to be one of the top running back prospects this year if he manages to maintain his health. If not, it would suck to see a player of his talent, of his caliber, fall down the draft board just because he got injured in week 0 on a muffed punt because of fireworks smoke in Ireland. Now, I didn't watch the Kansas versus Fresno State game, but it was a blowout. I didn't even watch the highlights. I'm not going to lie to you. 30-7 blowout, rock chalk, Kansas Jayhawks win all day, every day, and twice on Sundays. It is what it is. Let's look forward to week 1 of college football. And of course, the one that everyone's got circled is Texas at Ohio State. Is Arch Manning going to be the truth? Is he going to be able to stand up to a championship caliber Ohio State team and punch him in the mouth? I don't know. I was following Arch Manning since he was in 8th grade. As a Sooners fan, it broke my heart. It ruined my week when he committed to Texas. But I'm not going to fault the man. He does what he wants to do. I hope he succeeds in everything he does. I want him to be good. That last name carries a lot of weight in my family. For some reason, my mom has a huge crush on Peyton Manning and his 5 head. And we all remember what Eli Manning was doing to Tom Brady and the Patriots back in the early 2000s. I want Arch Manning to succeed. His first test is on Saturday. I'm going to be taking a road trip, and I made sure that me and my family are home by Saturday so I can watch this game. It is that important to make sure that Texas is able to enter the SEC and maintain the level that they're starting at. They were ranked this high for a reason. The voters who rank teams believe in Arch Manning, but it's his time to show that he is worth that belief. Another game you want to circle, LSU at Clemson later that day at 6:30 p.m. Central. Cade Klubnik, is he going to be able to do it? Is Garrett Nussmeier, LSU, going to be able to do it? It's at Clemson in Death Valley. I'm so excited to see what they got going on. Clemson hasn't been on the national stage in a while, probably since Trevor Lawrence was there, since Deshaun Watson was there. I'm excited to get some more exposure to LSU. I haven't really watched a bunch of LSU since like Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry were there. I tuned in when Joe Burrow and the Tigers were having their generational offense, but other than that, I really didn't pay attention to much LSU football because OU was in the Big 12. That's all I cared about, and we weren't making any college championships, so we didn't have to worry about LSU at all. I'm excited to see what Garrett Nussmeier can do. I'm excited to see what Cade Klubnik can do. These are two of the top quarterback prospects going into next year's draft, so obviously I need to pay attention to them to identify whether or not they're going to be able to translate well into the NFL. Another game I want to bring to your attention, Notre Dame versus Miami, August 31st. That's Sunday night. Notre Dame is always so fun to watch, and I want to see how Miami is going to adjust without having Cam Ward there. He was the number 1 overall draft pick for a reason. Also, Cam Ward's favorite weapon, Xavier Restrepo, isn't there anymore either. So that's a good A and B connection that's not going to be down there that Miami's going to have to adjust. And Notre Dame is Notre Dame. Their defenses are known for popping you in the mouth. You're going to have to hope that Miami can find some speedsters, can have their quarterback adjust to Notre Dame, because Notre Dame is going to hit the pedal to the metal and not let up until it's done. I don't know much about Notre Dame's program. I probably know a little bit more about Miami, but I'm excited to watch them. Leave a comment below about some games that I might be missing out on, because honestly, I'm not that well versed in college football. Nowhere near the level I am in NFL. I want to become better. I want to learn more. I love football. I like the game. I like studying formations. I like depth charts. I like coaching changes. I like mindsets and schemes and things that make people tick. And it's like chess on steroids. I love football. Let me know what I need to tune into. Let me know what I can do to improve my mental faculties when it comes to the game. All right, I'm about to wrap this up and head to sleep, but I guess that means I should also pick some sleeper picks this year for the NFL. We're going to take a look and see what sleeper picks I might have as a dark horse that can make a deep run in the playoffs. And we're going to start with everyone's sleeper pick, the Chargers. Harbaugh is back. Herbert is back. Ready to rock and roll like never before. Back like they never left. LaDD McConkey, Ladd McConkey, was so good last year, and he's poised to have a great second year. The Chargers re-signed Keenan Allen. They're ready for Ladd McConkey to have his great second year coming back. It's going to be fun. Omarion Hampton looks poised to take that starting running back job and run with it like he stole it. It's going to be a great time. And then you got the defensive side of the ball. Khalil Mack is still somehow good for a good handful of sacks. Derwin James is one of the best, hardest hitting safeties in the league. The Chargers are a force to be reckoned with. If they can get past Kansas City, the AFC West is theirs to lose. It all depends on who wins the Chargers-Chiefs matchups. Then it'll be between the Chargers and the Broncos. Another AFC team that I have that I don't know why people are counting out is the Texans. You think just because CJ Stroud has a sophomore slump that he isn't still one of the best quarterbacks we've seen in recent history? He had the best rookie quarterback season we have ever seen and that was just supplanted by Jaden Daniels. CJ Stroud is still that dude. Nico Collins is looking amazing. Hopefully Tank Dell comes back as ready to rock and roll. They got Nick Chubb, who's looking like he's going to be the starter. They said that they're not going to be activating Joe Mixon. He's going to start on the PUP list. All the people that CJ Stroud was using other than Joe Mixon are back and ready to rock. Dalton Schultz is a good tight end. People discount him, but he's always open. He's got that Jason Witten effect. He'll find a soft spot in the zone and get open. He'll hurt you. Their defense is nice. The Texans' defense is nice. They re-signed Derek Stingley, making him the most highest paid corner in the league. They got CJ GJ as the corner. Jalen Petrie back there. That secondary is going to lock some people down if you're not careful. If you only have one weapon on offense to throw the ball to, they're locking him down and you're going to have to run the ball. If you can't run the ball, you're screwed. Sorry, buddy. Bug on me. Expect CJ Stroud to definitely throw for 4,000 yards, barring any injury. He's definitely got that in him. Or if his weapons get injured, like Tank Dell going back down. I hope Tank Dell's okay. I really do. And I hope Nick Chubb refines the fire, because when he's hard running, he's just as good as Derrick Henry. He was the best running back in the league for a little bit there, but then his knee got obliterated, and I'm just hoping he can find that groove, hop back in, and get back on the horse and get rocking and rolling. So watch out for the Texans in the AFC. I have them as the favorite to win their division. Jacksonville is all smoke, no fire. Watch out for the Texans. They could absolutely make a deep run in the playoffs as well. Switching to the NFC, the Giants. We all saw what happened in the preseason. You saw that potential. I'm talking like it's already Jackson Dart's team. The Giants passed the eye test. Malik Neighbors looks elite. The defense is absolutely elite. That's one of the best defensive lines in the league. Dexter Lawrence, in my opinion, is the best defensive tackle in the league. They got Brian Burns. They got Abdul Carter, who, kind of got clowned on by the Jets, but he's still one of the best defensive prospects we've seen, the best pass rusher out of Penn State since Micah Parsons. They're going to be so much fun to watch. They got Bobby Okereke and Micah McFadden as linebackers. You can do way worse than that. And then in the secondary, they got Paulson Adebo from the Saints. They got Javon Holland from the Dolphins. They're ready to rock and roll on all sides of the ball. It'd be cool if we could stop watching Jalen Hyatt drop perfect passes. But other than that, the offense looks ready to go. We already went over how Jackson Dart is poised to take this team when they need him to. Russ is going to do just fine. If Russ can do just fine, Jameis will do just fine. He'll find somebody 70 yards down that way and lob a moon ball to him. Russ is known for the moon ball. They're going to eat in New York. And if they don't get 3 teams in the playoffs in the NFC East, whoever behind the Eagles, if they falter once, the Giants are taking their spot. If for some reason the Commanders can't start firing on all cylinders and they lose a step, the Giants will take their spot. If the Cowboys can't figure out what the hell they're doing with Micah Parsons and they lack any type of defense, the Giants will take that spot. Watch out for the Giants to move up as we go down the season. As long as they can maintain their health, they're absolutely capable of making a top 7 in the NFC and getting a wild card spot. And then another team who's going to win their division 100%, but who can also make a deep run into the playoffs is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield led the league in passing touchdowns last year. Why would he not be able to do that again? Mike Evans, the future Hall of Famer, the greatest Buccaneer of all time, is going to get another 1,000-yard season. Chris Godwin seems to always be open, even though he's a cone. Shout out BDGE. Emeka Egbuka. Oh, I'm so happy I got him in our Dynasty League. That's who I wanted from the jump, and I managed to get him. I'm so happy. He looks like he's the heir apparent for Mike Evans. Mike Evans doesn't have to work too hard. Just get that little 1,000 piece to keep the streak alive, and then, brother, throw some blocks for Chris Godwin. Throw some blocks for Emeka Egbuka. Bucky Swerving Irving is back there ready to rock and roll. Get the rock from Baker. The offensive line is great. Tristan Wirfs, one of the best left tackles in the league, 100%. Absolutely worth all the money. And then you flip sides to the defense. Vita Vea is going to shut down the run game. Antoine Winfield Jr. is going to lock down somebody, prevent deep shots being taken. If you don't respect the Bucs, you are making a drastic mistake. You cannot count them out. Baker Mayfield has that dog in him. He will personally put the entire team on his back and take his team to the playoffs, whether or not you want him to or not. You've all seen it. He has that it factor. And I'm hoping that he and Egbuka can get on the same page that he's on with Godwin, that he's on with Evans. Because once the Bucks with a third lethal receiver is something you don't want to talk about, because that's a dark day for opposing defenses. I promise you that. I think that's going to do it, guys. I'm just hitting over an hour. My voice is going out. I'm so excited to be doing this. I love the game of football. Let me know what you want me to talk about next. There's going to be more storylines as the weeks go on. I'm going to try to put out an episode a week, probably 2 a week if I can get away with it. It's a lot of work, but I'm open to doing it. I love this sport. I love you people. And I love being excited about something. I haven't been this excited about a hobby in a long time. But I'm now finally able to combine my passion for the sport with my passion for making people happy. And so even one person watches this and they smile, then the entire hour, 20-minute long recording was worth it. I'm not doing this for money. I'm not doing this for fame. I'm doing this for the love of the game. That's a bar. It's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. This has been the Gotta Know Ball Show. I've been your host, Barry. Thank you for watching.
You gotta know ball, you gotta know game, you gotta know love, you gotta know pain. You'll never get ahead if you're thinking like a lame. And most of all, you better know my name. It's Ball like Barry. You gotta know ball, you gotta know game, you gotta know love, you gotta know pain. You never get ahead if you're thinking like a lame. And most of all, you better know my name. It's Ball like Barry, Ball like Barry, Ball like Barry. It's Ball like Barry.